What's up, Titans fans? It's your boy CD back again with another episode of TitanUp 2day. On today's show, it's Saturday. Saturday means NFL game pick'ems. Usually we would have a full docket. This week we're light one game because the Tennessee Titans and COVID-19 have struck. And that means no Steelers versus Titans game for the pick'em this week. We've pushed that back to week 7. So we'll worry about that when that comes up. We'll take the bye week and enjoy it. I still will pick, along with the rest of the crew, we'll pick the rest of the games for this week. But there's no reason to delay. Let's get right into it. Now, before we jump into this week's picks, let's go ahead and take a moment to look at the standings and see how we've been doing thus far this season. As you can see here in the standings, I, C to the D, your boy CD is here, 34-14, win percentage of 708, leading the pack by 2 now. My sister Courtney, 32-16, winning 2/3 of her games, along with A-Town, same record. The Jake Witt, the new guy, 31-17. He's still hanging in there, only 3 games back from the lead, 646 on the win percentage. Now my boy Lund is bringing up the rear once again. IG handle bright side. There is nothing bright about your side of the standings at 22-26. He's below 500 in pick'em at this point in time. Somehow he is running 6th place out of 5 teams. I think right now at this point in time, you might want to start picking who you think is going to lose and show them as the winners, because if you did that already, you'd be above 500. But I don't want to dig on you too hard. We got another week. Week 4 is here. Let's go ahead and start pick'ems now. So the first game on the schedule is the Indianapolis Colts showing up to Chicago. They'll be 2-1 going against the undefeated NFC North leading Chicago Bears, currently tied with the Packers right now. They are nowhere near close to beating a Packers team, but they might be able to beat this Indianapolis Colts team. Right now, Indianapolis Colts are showing as favored, 2.5 points, and the over-under at 45 points. I have Chicago at home handling business with Nick Foles and Allen Robinson. I think that they can figure out a way in this game to beat the Indianapolis Colts 24-23 in a really, really good game. This might be one of the best games of the day. It'll start off really early. Jacksonville Jaguars, the next game up. They're 1-2. They've had a rough start to the season. I would say the very first game they shocked the Colts, but other than that, losing to us and then losing last week to the Dolphins on Thursday night at home, just a bad way to start the season. This week they get to draw the Cincinnati Bengals, who have not won a game yet. They got really close last week against the Eagles, but they tied. They're currently 0-2-1. Cincinnati is a 3-point favorite, and the over-under is 49 points flat. I have Cincinnati beating the Jacksonville Jaguars 23-20, as the Jacksonville Jaguars, after this game, start to go backwards and start to tank, like I said at the beginning of the season, that it looked like they were doing. But just watch. I think this is the game that kind of puts them in the number 1 overall draft pick whenever Cincinnati gets their first win. Next up, Cleveland Browns, 2-1. Shocking 2-1, because it seems like they weren't having such a great season, but 2-1 start going against the Dallas Cowboys, who are 1-2. And you would think the other way around, that they were doing so much better, but they're not doing all that great. The only game that they've won was that game against Atlanta, which in theory I think they should have lost. If they played any other team or any other coaching staff, there's no way they come back from that loss and come and turn it around into a win. But they did, so they're 1-2. Dallas is currently 4.5 point favorite at home with a 55.5 point over under. Now, as much trash as I'm talking about Dallas as well as their fans, we seem to always jump on their fans. I'm sorry, man. It's not the 90s anymore. But anyways, I have Dallas by myself. No, I'm lying. Everybody has Dallas to win this game. 30-23 is my score. Everyone else's scores are above my right shoulder. Nonetheless, next game up, New Orleans, the Aints, who are 1-2, are going up against the Detroit Lions, who are also 1-2 in Detroit. Detroit is not favored in this game at home, which I think is shocking, but Vegas does not. The New Orleans Aints favored by 4 points. The over-under is currently 54 points. I have Detroit winning this game 31-27 as the old Tom Breeze, not Tom Brady, not Drew Brees, Tom Breeze. Anyways, the old Drew Brees is still going to check it down. I think Detroit makes tackles, unlike the Packers could do. But anyways, they make the tackles and they win this game. Detroit wins this game 31-27. Anyways, on to the next game. Seattle looking really, really good with the MVP candidate and Russell Wilson. They are currently 3-0 and travel to Miami. Miami is 1-2 after coming off that win Thursday night against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Seattle is favored by 6.5 points. Over under is 54.5. I will say this. I do believe Seattle wins this game. I have them as winning 27-23. But Seattle, when playing away from home, historically, they already have a rough time. But when they play on the East Coast, it's really, really rough. Carolina is one of those teams in the past have been beating them almost every year whenever they travel out there. Miami, I don't think they're a great team. I just think this game will be a lot closer than what it would be if it was at a neutral place or if it was definitely in Seattle. And that's why I think Seattle does win this and they skate 27-23. Now the next game up is the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers are 1-2 playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are 2-1. That only game they lost were to the New Orleans Saints. So that has to say something. They beat the Broncos last week on the road in a game that they should have won. They won. The defense is playing well. Nonetheless, the Tampa Bay Bucks are favored by 7 points in Vegas. 43.5 point over under. I have the Bucks. The Buccaneers win this game 26-17. Reluctantly, I do not want to even say it, but they find a way to win this game. Shoot the cannons, whatever. Baltimore 2-1 after losing to Kansas City in a game that was beyond disappointing. I thought this was going to be the game of the week. Could have been a game of the year. They got blown out by Kansas City at home. Now puts them at 2-1. They go to Washington to play the 1-2 division-leading, NFC East division-leading Washington Redskins. Baltimore's favored by 13 points. The over-under is 47. I believe that Baltimore is going to go in and start to beat up on a team that is not that great, but they're going to take out their vengeance on this team. That being said, the Washington Redskins defense is good enough to keep them within, some kind of close quarters from not getting blown out by like 30 points. I think this game is a little bit overzealous whenever Vegas says 13 points. I don't think that they cover that, but I do think that they beat the Redskins comfortably with a 24-14 victory. Now, next up is the Arizona Cardinals. 2-1 is what they are. They lost to Detroit last week. Some people were shocked. I was not. I picked Detroit to win. Anyways, Carolina is also 1-2. I'm sorry, it's not also, but they are 1-2. Arizona favored by 3 points to win this game. The over-under is 52.5. I do not think that Arizona's offense travels to Carolina and does what they've been doing on natural grass outside. I think Carolina handles business at home with Teddy and no MC, no CMC in the backfield, but with Teddy throwing the ball to DJ Moore and a lot of the other offensive weapons. I think they win this game 27-17. Comfortably win this game. Next up, Minnesota versus the Houston Texans. This game is the saddest game on the freaking week's schedule. This is just sad. Not a bad game, just sad. You have Minnesota, who was 10-6 last year. They are starting off 0-3. You have Houston, who won the division last year, who have started off 0-3. You had two teams that last year were good enough, and then this year look like they are absolutely bad. I think the Texans obviously have had a few bad draws to start the season off, but two 0-3 teams going up against each other. One of these teams will leave 0-4. Now, who will it be? Vegas says Houston wins this game 3.5 points. By 3.5 points and a 53.5 over under. I say Houston wins this game 31-20. They are back on. They get 1-3. Minnesota goes away at 0-4, and I don't know. We'll see what happens with them in the NFC North. Next up, another really bad team. New York Giants at 0-3. Injury just riddled. Obviously losing Saquon Barkley for the year. Are playing the LA Rams, who are 2-1. The Rams just lost last week in a crazy game against the Bills. That 2-1 record could easily be 3-0. They started off, I think they were down by 20 points or something like that at right around the first half. And going into the second half, they completely flipped the script, got the lead late in the fourth quarter, but then gave it back up at the last second to Josh Allen and those Bills to become 2-1 with that loss. I think that they get it back on the grind, but right now Vegas says they're going to win by 13 points. That's their favorite. And 48 over under total points. I have as well as the rest of the crew. We all have the Rams to win. I have the Rams winning 34-20 in this game. Daniel Jones still puts together something. Darius Slayton as well as the other wide receivers have been doing all right. So I think they'll put up some numbers, but this game will be over pretty quick. New England 2-1 going against Kansas City Chiefs, who are undefeated. This is the next level of game when we look at the playoff implications later on. Kansas City has a chance to knock New England down significantly in the AFC standings, and New England has the opportunity to start to make that big climb by knocking Kansas City down a little bit closer. This game is important in the AFC conference, to say the least. Kansas City is favored by 7 points, 54 over under. I think that Kansas City wins this game 24-20. I think that's a close game. Might not even be as close as it actually looks, but I think that New England is smart enough. Belichick is not going to go out there and go throw punches. They're already right now one of the top rushing teams in the league. I find them running the ball, trying to drain the clock out and not let Kansas City on the field as often. That's why the point total is low for me. That being said, Kansas City looked absolutely amazing against the Baltimore Ravens defense, which is pretty stout. They put up numbers, so it'll be interesting to see how this game shakes out. If Kansas City can just snap these guys in half, they are a really, really scary team moving forward. That being said, since we've played them, I guess the last 4 times, we beat them 3 out of 4, so I'm not really worried about them. If they come back to Tennessee, we'll be ready for them. Moving along, Buffalo going against the Las Vegas Raiders. Buffalo, again, won. They're 3-0 in a crazy game against the Rams last week. Las Vegas Raiders, they took a loss last week against the New England Patriots. I did call that. I think that it was a bad timing for them. They looked good rolling into New England. New England had just came off that loss. I thought there was no way they were going to lose 2 games in a row. Belichick just doesn't allow it. Now they get to go back home and play an undefeated Buffalo Bills team. As they're 2-1, the Bills are favored by 3 points on the road, 52-point over-under. I have the Raiders getting back home, getting situated, and beating these Bills 27-24 in a really good game. Next up, the disappointing Philadelphia Eagles. These guys are in a division. I feel like the NFC East has been this division for the past, 4 years, where no one wants to win it. It's just who's not going to lose it and then just kind of stumble to the top and then get into the playoffs. It's just a sloppy division. And again, right now at 1-2, you have the Redskins, who are leading this division, tied with the Dallas Cowboys. But Philadelphia is 0-2-1 in a game that they should have won outright before they even got into overtime. But then when they got into overtime, they still couldn't even find a way to win it. Even on the last play of the game, or basically the last play of the game, it's 4th down. They're going to kick a long field goal, and they end up going offside, or jumping and having a false start and losing 5 yards and have to punt. They couldn't even take the field goal to try to win the game. Sloppy game. Anyways, they're going against the San Francisco 49ers. They're 2-1 with a new quarterback at the helm. My boy says, it's actually A-Town. A-Town says that Nick Mullins might be pulling the Colin Kaepernick against Alex Smith back in the day, and that Jimmy might be losing his job every single week that he's out. I don't know how that works. I think all of them are pretty trash nonetheless. So San Francisco is favored to win by 7. Over-under is 45. I have San Francisco winning this game 27-23. The offense has been pretty good for San Fran. Philadelphia, I don't know what to expect. They might go in here and blow San Fran out. Who knows? But nonetheless, I have them winning. San Francisco winning 27-23 in a decent game. Now, that's Sunday Night Football. Monday Night Football should be a great game, right? You have an 0-3 Atlanta Falcons team traveling to Green Bay, who is undefeated, and they look to be one of the best teams in the NFL, especially on the offensive side. They're scoring 35, almost 40 points a game. They're going to get to Atlanta team who's giving up about that much every single week. They are putting up points though, but around the end of the third, fourth quarter, they seem to just turn off their defense, turn off their offense, and then let whoever they're playing just win. That's how they've done that for all 3 games this season. It's sad to watch. Nonetheless, Green Bay is 7.5 point favorite with the over under of 58. I do think there'll be a lot of points scored in this game, a lot of points. That 58 points gets covered. I have Green Bay winning this game 41-27. I don't think that this will be another Atlanta game where they're ahead and they lose it. I think that Green Bay just starts to thump them early, and Atlanta tries to keep up, but just can't keep up with them. They're never ahead of this game, but that's what I have for Monday Night Football. All right, so that wraps up all the NFL pick'ems for this week, week 4. I feel like we're still missing one game. That Titans versus Steelers game was going to be so good. 2 undefeated teams going head up against each other, but COVID did strike and we lost that. But what we don't lose is these other 14 games that we'll get to see on Sunday and Monday night. I hope that it all ends up being good games. I hope that you guys enjoyed this show, and if you did, click that like button. If you haven't subscribed, you are wrong. Subscribe for the channel. Also, click that notifications bell. Get notified the next time I upload another episode of Tighten Up Today. But before we leave, I have that one question for you. Why tighten up tomorrow when you can tighten up today?